Afternoon. Welcome from the homestead. Last time we talked about outrage and how that's being pushed upon society. Well, today we're going to talk about the word hate and how hate has been politicized. Language actually has been politicized. But we're going to take the word hate today. It's been politicized so much that there's been laws passed about hate crimes, hate speech. And the word hate has been diluted so much. And the language has changed so much that actually, I think it's been personally done on purpose to confuse people. So let's talk about hate and how the powers that be want to regulate our speech and words. Hate can mean so many different things. So, when I was a child, I hated eating beets, pickled beets specifically. Couldn't stand them. Now, how's that supposed to be taken in today's world? Am I some sort of evil goon because I hate beets, pickled beets specifically? A rational person would say, no. Right? It's a saying, it's an expression. Or you hate doing something. I think most Americans hate paying taxes. We still do it. So are we evil people for hating that? I hate it when I'm driving and people pull out in front of me when I'm like only 20 feet away from the intersection. Should I be considered bad for that? See, the thing with trying to regulate speech is very subjective. It depends. So anytime you try to regulate something like that, it can be very easily twisted and turned, manipulated, and totally taken out of context. Let's take another one, hate crimes. Someone gets murdered and the media says, well, it was a white person versus black person, so it's a hate crime. I don't know about you, but anytime anybody gets murdered, regardless of race, sex, skin color, gender, whatever you want to say, isn't all murder hate? Something to think about. How can one murder be worse than another murder? Murder is murder. Again, the word is being used for political purposes. In fact, it's being so political now that if you just disagree with someone, others are going to try to say that you hate that person because you disagree with them. They add it. You don't even have to say it. Just for the sake of disagreeing, you will be labeled as a hater. There's lots of people I disagree with. I don't hate them. If you're married, has there ever been moments that you hated what your spouse said? But that doesn't mean you hate them. I mean, disagree with them. But it doesn't mean you hate them just because you disagree with them. So as a society, we really need to put the brakes on to these people that like to slap labels where labels do not belong. We can disagree, and it's okay. Isn't that a shock? But yeah, you can. How do I know? Well, I grew up in an era that's how things were done. You know, politics in the 70s, 80s, even in the 90s. Disagreed all the time. Now, in the 70s, one of the most famous Halloween masks was that of Richard Nixon. You know, it was a parody. You know, I'm not a crook. We, as a society, need to get back to that, where we can lampoon our political leaders. Because let's face it, they need to be lampooned. Because they take themselves, a lot of times, way too serious. And they're just people. Just people just like you and me. People. Not gods. They're not even rulers. They are, what's the old way of saying it? They are public servants. Let me say that again. Political people are public servants. They're there to serve the public, not to rule the public. Very important to remember that. And again, a lot of the blame goes on media, right? Because of what they say. Our leaders are this, are that. They're not. They are public servants, and they need to be reminded of that. So, ending on this hate thing. And we'll get more onto the words being politicized, but we really need to look at this hate thing. Okay? Disagreement is good in a constitutional republic. We're supposed to have discourse. We're supposed to disagree and then talk about it civilly and come to a mutual agreement between the different sides. Because you disagree does not mean you hate. Just because you disagree does not mean you hate. Okay? Because I got a feeling that's the slippery slope we're on, it's getting worse. And we as a society need to take ownership again of the society. Because remember, there's a certain document that says, we the people. That's where the true power lies. And it's what we accept and what we don't accept. And we need to rein in the media and the politicians who like to weaponize words and use them for political gain. And how we start is by pushing back, saying, I disagree with you. Doesn't mean I hate you. I disagree with that thought. I disagree with that policy. I disagree with how you want to handle this or that. It has nothing to do with personal at all. That's how a civil society is supposed to act. So, today's lesson, it is okay to disagree. And because you disagree does not mean you hate. Remember, hate is a very subjective word. So let's keep from trying to pass laws about it. And the ones that are on the book need to come off. Right? There's no such thing as hate crimes. If someone committed a crime, they committed a crime. That's it. Kind of black and white. And there's no such thing as hate speech. There is speech I do not like. And I might hate hearing some speech. But I'll stand beside that person and defend their right to say whatever they need to say. Okay? Freedom of expression is an unalienable right. Not unalienable. Unalienable. It's like a lien on your house or your car, right? A lien is something that it's not really yours, right? You know, that house is not yours till you pay for it because there's a lien on it, which means they can take it. So an unalienable right is something that can't be taken away. There can't be a lien on it. And our unalienable right is speech and freedom of expression, especially speech we don't want to hear. But I'll stand beside that person so they can say it, because I want that person to stand beside me when I say something that they don't like. That's what a civil society does. And it's time to get civil again. So from the homestead, till we talk again, peace and live long and prosper.